Sarah and Michael met during a weekend hiking trip, drawn together by their shared love of nature and adventure. Sarah was vibrant and expressive, her laughter echoing through the trails, while Michael was quiet and reserved, his calm demeanor a comforting presence. They balanced each other in those early days. Sarah brought excitement to Michael's life, and Michael grounded Sarah's whirlwind energy. But as their relationship deepened, cracks began to form. Sarah craved emotional intimacy and open communication. She wanted to talk about their dreams, fears, and everything in between. Michael, on the other hand, struggled to express his feelings. He believed actions spoke louder than words, and he showed his love through small gestures, making her coffee in the morning, fixing her car when it broke down, or surprising her with her favorite book. Sarah tried to bridge the gap, asking Michael to share more of himself, but he often shut down, retreating into silence. She told herself it was just his personality, that he would open up in time. Michael, for his part, admired Sarah's passion but sometimes found her intensity overwhelming. He wished she could appreciate the quiet moments without always needing to fill them with conversation. Despite these differences, they made up their mind to get married as they believed that love was enough to bring understanding and tolerance between them in marriage. They got married in a small ceremony surrounded by friends and family, both hopeful that their bond would grow stronger over time. However, few months into the marriage, nothing changed. Instead, marriage magnified their incompatibility. Sarah felt increasingly lonely, as if she were living with a stranger. She tried to initiate heartfelt conversations, but Michael's responses were brief and guarded. Over time, she stopped trying, and the silence between them grew heavier. Michael, meanwhile, felt suffocated by Sarah's expectations. He didn't understand why she couldn't see how much he cared through the things he did for her. The more she pushed for emotional connection, the more he withdrew, retreating into his shell. The breaking point came one evening during a dinner with friends. Sarah was animatedly sharing a story about their recent vacation, while Michael sat quietly, offering only the occasional nod. Sarah felt that Michael's nods were rude as he didn't contribute significantly or add details to her story. On the other hand, Michael felt there was no need for all that stories and details as the vacation was for them alone to have some fun and share quality time together. When their friends left, Sarah turned to Michael, frustration bubbling over. "Why don't you ever talk to me?" she asked, her voice trembling. "It's like I'm married to a ghost." Michael looked at her, his expression unreadable. "You are overreacting, Sarah. You know I'm a private person," he said quietly. "Try and understand me." "Understand you?" Sarah replied, tears in her eyes. "You knew my kind of person before you married me. I love to talk and communicate with people and it gives me so much joy. Why can't you learn to adjust and not make me look like a fool in front of people?" The conversation ended in silence, as so many of their arguments did. Over the next few months, the distance between them grew. Sarah threw herself into her work, while Michael spent more time alone, tinkering with projects in the garage. They became roommates rather than partners, their love buried under layers of unspoken words and unmet needs. One day, Sarah found an old photo of them from their hiking trip, their faces glowing with happiness. She realized how far they'd drifted from the people they were back then. She decided to try one last time. That night, she sat down with Michael and spoke from the heart. "I love you," she said, "but I can't keep living like this. I need us to talk, to really connect. If we can't do that, I don't know if we can make this work." Michael hesitated, then finally opened up. He admitted that he'd always struggled with expressing his emotions, afraid of being vulnerable. He told her about his fears of not being enough for her, of disappointing her. For the first time in years, they truly listened to each other. It wasn't an easy fix, but it was a start. They began attending couples therapy, learning to communicate in ways that worked for both of them. Sarah learned to appreciate Michael's quiet love, while Michael made an effort to share more of himself. The road was long, and there were still moments of frustration and silence, but they slowly rebuilt their connection. The silent divide that once threatened to tear them apart became a bridge, built on understanding, patience, and a renewed commitment to each other. In the end, their love wasn't what saved their marriage, but their willingness to grow, change and make compromises for each other. And that made all the difference.